Right. Maybe they're going to share their money. Maybe Jesse and Evan are going to collaborate. What do you think is going to happen, Shayla?
I'm thinking that Evan won't find Jesse's money in time.
Yeah. Well, you know, his shoes were moved, and Scott was in the room, and all the other kids were out in the swimming pool. So maybe Evan won't be able to get the money back. What do you think is going to happen, Keislan?
He's gonna chase after Scott, maybe.
You think he's going to track Scott down, maybe pound him for what he did? Who knows? All right, we're going to find out, and I'm going to make every effort. I cannot promise. I will do my very best to get all missing chapters uploaded and the Lemonade War into our Google, into my MCPS classroom by the end of this week. It's not going to happen today. There's just no magic, but I will do my best to make sure we have the whole book in. Tomorrow on my teacher work day, I'll take a little time and upload all of those chapters into our classroom, probably under the reading activities tab. I'll let you know where it is. Okay, my friends, let's jump in. And I tell you, those kids that aren't here are missing a treat. Hopefully they'll get to listen later. So the chapter is called Reconciliation. Chapter 14, Reconciliation. The act of bringing together after a difference, as in to reconcile numbers on a balance sheet. Resolution. What do you think the word reconciliation sounds like? Resolution, reconciliation. What do you think that means when we say bringing together after a difference? What does that mean? Shayla, what are you thinking it means?
To help one another, even though that you might have gone through a really tough time apart.
Yeah, maybe like putting your differences aside for a moment. Yeah. Serena, were you going to add something? I feel like you want to say something. Not yet? Okay. All right. Come on, you two. Mrs. Tresky called up to the stairs. If we don't go now, there won't be any room on the grass. There's Nevaeh. All right. Just missing two little birds. We're coming, shouted Evan, sticking his head out of the room. Jessie was sitting on his bed, and he was trying to get her to go to the fireworks. She had her lockbox in her lap and a mulish look on her face. Just say it's a tie, said Evan. Come on, Jess. This whole thing is stupid, and you know it. It's not a tie unless it's a tie, said Jessie, knowing she sounded like a brat, but not able to stop herself. How much have you got? Mom's waiting, said Evan. Put your dumb box away and let's go to the fireworks. How much have you got? Evan tensed up his fingers like he was strangling. I lost my place, acting it out. As if he were strangling an invisible ghost. Nothing, okay? I've got nothing. Look, he turned the pockets of his shorts inside out. Jessie looked skeptical. You can't have nothing. You must have made something. Well, I had expenses, so I ended up with nothing, okay? Are you happy? You win. Evan sat on the edge of the bed looking at the floor. Jessie felt her heart sink. You spent all your money on mix for your lemonade on wheel stand. Jessie asked, all of it? Evan nodded. Jessie felt like crawling under the bed and never coming out. It didn't pay off so good, she whispered. There were a few bugs in the system, said Evan. That's a joke Jessie would have loved, he thought, before the war. Now it was all just money and numbers and bad feelings. There was no room for laughing. Oh, said Jessie, her voice the size of an ant. I've got. She opened the lid of the lockbox, took out the change tray, and pushed aside all the scraps of paper she had collected and the comment card from Megan. She stared. Wait a minute. This isn't my money. She picked up a handful of wrinkled, bunched up bills. Evan lay down on the bed and covered his head with his pillow. Jessie counted the money quickly. $62.11. Where'd this come from? Oh, said Evan from underneath the pillow. What? Said Jessie. Take that dumb pillow away. I can't understand what you're saying. She hit the side of his leg for emphasis. It's my money, he shouted, still through the pillow. It was $103, but I spent $41 for the lemonade on wheel stand. So now it's just $62. Your money? But where's my money? Evan pulled the pillow away from his face. His eyes were closed. His nose pointed at the ceiling. He folded his arms across his chest like a dead man. I took it. Well, give it back, said Jessie. This time she hit the side of his leg for real. I can't. It's gone. He lay as still as a 3-day-old corpse. Gone? Gone where? Jessie was shrieking now. Never in her life had she worked so hard to earn money. Never in her life had she had more than $100 in her hand. Never in her life had she had a friend who trusted her like Megan had. I don't know. It was in my shorts pocket. And then I played basketball with the guys. And then I went to Jack's house to swim. And I took off my shorts and borrowed a suit. And when I went back to change, the money was gone. He sat up and faced his sister. I'm really sorry. In a real war, you fight. You fight with your hands and with weapons. You fight with anything you've got because it's a matter of life and death. Jessie felt the loss of her hard-earned money like a death. And she ripped into Evan with all the power in her body. She punched him. She kicked him. She threw her lockbox at him. She wanted to tear him up into little pieces. Evan didn't try to pin her, though it would have been easy to do. Part of him just wanted to lie on the bed and take it. Take it all. For being the one who started the whole thing by saying, I hate you. For making Jessie feel so rotten about herself just because Evan felt so rotten about himself. For taking Jessie's money and losing it to Scott, just for being so stupid. But Jessie was really going at it, and if he didn't protect himself at least a little, he was going to end up in the emergency room, and that would upset his mom. So he kept his hands up in front of his face, just enough to keep Jessie from gouging out his eyes, but he never once tried to hit her back. He was done fighting. Finally, Jessie ran out of gas. She lay on the bed and tried to make her brain work. Her body was so worn out that her brain felt like the only part of her that could work. One of your friends stole my money, she asked. I think it was Scott Spencer, said Evan. He went upstairs to go to the bathroom, and then he came down in all a hurry and said he had to go home. After that, I went upstairs and the money was gone. He's such a jerk, said Jessie. The biggest, said Evan. And if he gets an Xbox, I'll know it was him. It was a lot of money, said Jessie, feeling tears start to spring from her eyes and run down her face. It was, said Evan. I couldn't believe how much when I saw it. You're really something, you know that? Earning all that money selling lemonade? Thanks, thought Jessie, though she couldn't say the word. Why'd you do it, Evan? She asked. She meant, why'd you take the money? And why'd you act so mean? And why'd you start this whole war in the first place? There were too many questions. I was mad at you putting the bugs in my lemonade, he said. Well, I was mad at you for saying you wanted to pulverize me, she said. I only did that because you were hanging out with Megan and I felt totally left out. Well, how do you think I felt when you wouldn't let me hang out with you and stupid Scott Spencer? Well, I was mad at you because Jessie sat up and looked at Evan. Evan looked at the wall. Because I don't want you in my class this year, he said. Because I'll embarrass you, she said solemnly. Because I'll embarrass myself, said Evan. I never have the right answer in math, and I read slower than everyone when I read out loud. And I make mistakes all the time. And now with you in the class, it's going to be worse. They'll all say, wow, he's even dumber than his little sister. Evan's shoulders slumped and his head hung low. not dumb, said Jessie. I know you don't think I am, he said, and that stinks too, that you're going to see how dumb I am in school. You're not dumb, said Jessie again. You made $103.11 selling lemonade in just 5 days. Yeah, but you made $208. You see, you're my little sister and you're twice as smart as me. Jessie shook her head. Half that money is Megan's. She gave it to me to give to the Animal Rescue League. I only made $104. Evan unslumped. Really? Jessie nodded yes. So you made 104 and I made 103? And 11 cents, said Jessie. So it was really a tie, said Evan. No, said Jessie. I won by 89 cents. But I mean, come on, said Evan. After that, it was practically a tie. No, said Jessie. It was close, but I really won. Wow, we pretty much tied, said Evan. Jessie decided to let it go. For the first time in 4 days, she didn't care about who had more and who had less. Besides, she was waiting to see how long it would take before Evan figured it out. Not long. Holy moly, he said suddenly. I lost Megan's money too? $104 of her money? Oh no. He threw himself back on his bed and covered his face with both arms. Neither of them said anything for a long time. Finally, Jessie broke the silence. I'm really sorry I put the bugs in your lemonade. Thanks, said Evan. I'm sorry I took your and Megan's money. We shouldn't have done any of this, Jessie said, waving her hand at the money on the bed. It ruined the end of the summer. Yeah, the whole summer's been trash, said Evan. Not the whole summer, just the last 5 days. Remember we went to Bar Harbor and we swam at the pond? Jessie couldn't stand Evan thinking their whole summer together had been trash. Yeah, but I think the last 5 days kind of canceled all that out, said Evan. I can't believe I have to tell Megan Moriarty. She likes you, said Jessie. Evan sat up. So, really? Yeah, said Jessie. I don't get it either, but she's always asking what you're doing and if you can play and stuff. Why do you think she does that? Cool, said Evan, smiling. So you guys are friends? Yeah, said Jessie. We're good friends. Okay, then. So she'll be coming over here to play and stuff, right? That's cool. You're weird, said Jessie. Yes, I am, said Evan. There was another long silence. The late summer light in Evan's one window room had faded to black, but neither of them wanted to turn on a light. It was nice sitting there, just the two of them in the cooling darkness. An afternoon breeze had kicked itself into a gusty wind, and the shade on the window tapped out a steady beat that was pleasant and reassuring. This war was stupid, said Jessie. Evan nodded in the dark. Just then, they heard the sound of thunder booming in the distance. Then more and more until the whole house shook. The fireworks, shouted Jessie. Oh, snap, shouted Evan. Jessie and Evan raced down the stairs. At the bottom, they found their mother sitting on the last step, watching the sky through the sliding screen door. Why didn't you call us, said Evan. We're missing the fireworks, said Jessie. Oh, I figured whatever the two of you were talking about was more important than the fireworks show. Mrs. Tresky turned to look at her kids. Did you work it out? Evan and Jessie nodded just as a Roman candle exploded in the sky. Not a bad seat, said Mrs. Tresky, patting the step. Enjoy. For 20 minutes, the night sky was alive with wagon wheels, party-colored dahlias, and whistling glitter palms. Evan, Jessie, and Mrs. Tresky sat watching, silent, but for the occasional ooh and ah that seemed to escape from their lips like hissing air from an overblown tire. When the last of the fireworks bloomed and then faded, Evan, Jessie, and Mrs. Tresky sat in the darkness waiting. No one said anything for several minutes, and then Jessie whispered, "It's over." Yes, it was over. Wait, said Evan. What was that? What? Asked Jessie, straining her ears. Listen. In the distance, a boom and a rattle. More fireworks, said Evan, staring up at the dark sky. Where? I don't see them, said Jessie. All of a sudden, the sky split in two as lightning sliced the night. An explosion of thunder rolled through the house, rattling the windows and pictures on the wall. Rain poured from the sky as if a gigantic faucet had been twisted on. Yow! Shouted Mrs. Tresky, leaping up from the step. Battle stations. Every window in the house was wide open, so Evan, Jessie, and Mrs. Tresky ran from the top floor to the bottom, shutting windows and sopping up puddles. The rain came down with the fury and impatience of a 2-year-old having a tantrum. As he closed the window in his room, Evan could hear the gurgle of the gutters choking on the downpour. One thing ends, another begins, said Mrs. Tresky, meeting Evan and Jessie on the stairs. She raised her index finger like a wise philosopher. Fireworks, rainstorm. Jessie raised her index finger. Summer, school. Evan raised his index finger. War, peace. Then they all laughed because it was silly, the three of them acting like wise philosophers standing on the stairs. That night, before she closed her door, Jessie whisper-shouted to Evan, who was already in bed. Hey, I've got an idea about getting Megan's money back. So this page says 10 tips for turning lemons into loot by Jessie and Evan Tresky. Tip 1, location. It all starts with where you put your lemonade stand. Tip 2, advertising. Make your lemons stand out in a crowd. Tip 3, underselling. Cheaper, cheapest lemons in town. Tip 4, goodwill. How to make people love your lemons. Tip 5, value added. Giving your lemons that something extra. Tip 6, business regulations. Be sure you know your local lemon laws. Tip 7, profit margin. How to calculate the limits of your lemons. Tip 8, franchisees. How 13 lemons can earn more than one. Tip 9, going mobile. Take your lemons on the road. Tip 10, employee appreciation. Don't be a sour boss. Always say thank you to your workers. Profit and loss statement. 15 expenses, 52 cans of lemonade, $65. 5 packages of cups, $14.25. Tax on cups, 75 cents. Total expenses, $80. Gross sales, $312. Total profit, $232. Jessie's gross, $104. So this is the board that Jessie and Evan did together for the Labor Day contest. And then here is like a little newspaper article, and it says, brother and sister win annual Labor Day contest. This year's winners in the annual Rotary Club Labor Day contest, open to all town residents ages 8 to 12, are Jessie, age 8, and Evan, age 10, Tresky of 81 Parsons Road. The brother and sister team created an impressive poster that described their entrepreneurial efforts of purveyors of lemonade. It was hot, so we decided to sell lemonade, said Evan. And then Jessie had the great idea of taking everything we learned and making it into a poster for the contest. The award-winning poster included 10 tips for running a successful lemonade stand, a profit and loss statement, a business definitions, and a chart that tracked franchise profits. We've had other entries in other years that describe businesses, said Jack Pederosini, president of the local chapter of the Rotary Club, but never anything with this much detail. We were very impressed. Jessie and Evan will share the $100 prize money. Will they use it to start up another business? No, said Jessie. We kind of need a break from running a business because of school starting. Both Jessie and Evan are 4th graders at Hillside Elementary School. Jessie and Evan's money plan, private. $100 prize money, $62.11, Evan's lemonade money, $10, Jessie's birthday money, equals $172.11. And then that equals $104, Megan's donation to the Animal Rescue League, $34, Evan's iPod fund, and $34.06, Jessie's Animal Rescue League fund. So they decided to split They decided to use the $100 that they earned to make the donation in Megan's name and split whatever they had left. And it looks like there's another lemonade book, and it's called, oh, The Lemonade Crime. There's a sequel to this book, and they're going to, it says, Evan and Jessie turned the playground into a courtroom when they put Scott Spencer on trial for stealing the lemonade money. So there's more to it. And there's a couple other books by Jacqueline Davis. So she's been a little busy. Awesome sauce. What'd you guys think? What'd you think, Kislan?
It's good. Can we please get the lemonade crime?
I'll see what I can do. It's May 12th, so I don't know if we'll have time to read the whole thing, but libraries are starting to open back up. So you can go and look for it in your local library this summer and read it to me. Let me know what you think. I'm definitely going to try to order a
What
copy.
library?
The public library. And I will send some information about that to parents. Okay, I'm going to pause right now so we can stop recording.